Now it's time for critical thinking. And what do you have?
I want to talk about making tough decisions, because I think if you think about them in a proper way, tough decisions are a little bit easier to make, although they're never easy. So why is a decision tough? When you think about a tough decision, it's usually because it's balanced, right? You have multiple options that come to you, and you're like, I'm not really sure which one will work out. I've got too many choices. You know, having too many choices is another problem. So make a list. We've talked about this before.
Yes, we have.
So here's my example. You have two choices, A and B. And I made a short list here, but you can make a longer one. 2 vacations. A, the positives are more fun, better weather. The negatives are higher cost, longer travel time. B is lower cost, closer to home, but it's less fun and the weather's not as good. So you've got a balance between A and B, about 50-50 choice. You want the less fun, less expensive, closer to home, easier vacation, or the more elaborate vacation that costs you even more but would probably be more fun. And that's a tough decision. Well, it's a tough decision for me. She always picks the more expensive one.
No, that's not true.
Okay,
but
she doesn't.
I can't make up my mind.
She can't make it right. So this is why it's called a tough decision, because these are equal. So what would you really like? Here's decision C and D that you would like. So decision C is more fun, lower cost, better weather, closer to home, versus decision D, which is less fun, higher cost, bad weather, and a long travel time.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody wants C.
C.
Well, C isn't a hard decision. If it's split evenly, you know, I'm going to pick C. It's simple. That's an easy decision. But that's not the position. That's not what a tough decision is. That's not where we get stuck. We get stuck between A and B, and a lot of people forget decision F.
There's a decision F?
Decision F. You know what decision F is? A failure to make a decision. If you don't make a decision, you're making a decision.
Decision failure.
That's right. If you don't make a decision, that is a decision. Whether it's a default decision. The decision is don't do anything. So what does decision F give you? An F gets you, well, you saved the money. That's a positive. You're not spending any money. That's good. The bad side is no vacation, no fun, stuck at home, and missed an opportunity. So I give that an F. That's not a good decision. And you've made the decision by default by not choosing A or B. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So not making a decision is a decision, and the reason tough decisions are tough because they're balanced, and you have to give something up. So you don't want to end up with decision F, because then you end up with nothing. No. So you go back to decisions A and B. What we find when we look into the research, and this is true, I've talked about this before in the show, is the downside hurts more than the upside feels good. So typically, the downside of both of these is where you should focus to figure out which one you hate the worst. And which one you hate the worst is the one you want to avoid, so pick the other one. So if you hate the high cost and the long travel time and you just don't want to do that, well, then you pick this one, even though it's not as much fun. But if you hate the idea of bad weather on vacation and you want to go to the beach and you want to enjoy yourself, then you got to pick the other one. So it's a question of where you put your priorities. And you weight all these, but more than likely, the way to think about it is where are the negatives and compare the negatives, the bad side, because that's what will make you, you know, when you get on vacation and you saved the lower cost, but the weather's garbage, you know what you do? You complain about it. It's like, why didn't we spend more money and go to the nice place? Because now I'm going on vacation and I hate it, right? So if you avoid your negatives, the most negatives, you probably end up making the better decision, even though it's a 50-50 chance. Because people hate the negatives more than they love the positives.
Interesting.
So that's just a way to think about it, okay? So remember, when we're making tough decisions, the first thing is they're tough for a reason. Okay, don't underestimate their being difficult. Write down all the pros and cons of every possible option you've got. It doesn't have to be A and B. It can be A, B, C, D, E, so on. And then start thinking about the pros and cons of each. And remember decision F. F is a failure. It's a failure. Not deciding is almost as bad as deciding the wrong one, because you're definitely not getting what you want to get. Although not in all cases. So
sounds like our government.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Not a political show. Not a political show. Okay.
What's your takeaway?
Takeaway, good one. When facing a difficult decision, accept that there are pros and cons to each option and that there is no easy answer. That's why it's a tough decision. But when weighing your options, don't forget that not making a decision is a decision in and of itself, and often a bad one.